the education then wasn't quite up to the level of what it could have been. So it's unlike, okay, another thing is university is very costly. I mean, I was lucky that I got a scholarship. A lot of people aren't. I know a lot of people at my work have to have, student loans are going to be paying off for the next 10 years. It's just as big as, their car payment or their mortgage. It's like that third thing. It's one of those top three things they're going to be worrying about. And I think that's the reason why people don't pursue higher education, or pursue more education, I should say, in general. It's just because of the cost. I mean, you can get online courses potentially that don't cost as much, or online educations, or maybe go to community college, technical institutes, all these different things. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I still say they cost a lot of money because A, they cost, the actual physical or the actual monetary value that you have to put in just to get out the education, but B, time and stress. These are other things that are very, very, very costly. I mean, if you have a full-time education going on, that's very difficult to maintain a steady job, or I don't know, or a steady life. I mean, you have a lot of stress. You won't be able to relax. You won't be able to do all those recreational things that you could with a normal job, even, and that would result in you, just not being able to function properly, or not being able to even do very well in the educational system that you have. And it's not necessarily because the education is just it's because you have to synchronize the schedules. I mean, how do you synchronize? I mean, even if it's an online course, like perhaps the lectures are given only at certain times of the day. I mean, I had that when I actually had some online courses through my home university. They not online, but VTEL, or like through a video. I still had to go to the room because they didn't record the videos and just leave them up on the internet somewhere. I'm sure, but that's probably not the case very often, because it doesn't seem like a very logical thing that they did. But they did it, I think, mostly because they wanted to make sure that we were still going to class and, keeping on top of things. But they had to do that because my university system didn't have enough professors to teach some core competency areas, because I was from a little bit smaller of a major. Anyways, that's besides the point. So in general, what I'm saying, I guess, is yes, sure, online courses do meet that a lot, actually, probably, but I guess the traditional university level doesn't. I mean, you can probably, on most online courses, you can probably go and access the lectures and access all the material and participate, at your leisure, any time of the day, I'm supposing, but I'm not certain. I think in general, though, that's something that's very important and will have to be in the future for us to continue to educate people beyond the traditional education years, and which I'm still building, I guess, the necessity for it. Yeah. So again, going back to the poor synchronization, it's not just the poor synchronization in schedules or the poor synchronization in costs and lifestyles. There's also the not just the poor synchronization in learning styles and such, but also there is the poor synchronization in the level of education that the student has compared to what the educator is presenting or giving. You can't really tell sometimes. Yes, sure, there's the prerequisite courses that you had to take, maybe, or maybe the background that they say you need. But then a lot of times you'll go into a course and they'll actually start talking at a higher or a lower level than that. They'll throw out buzzwords and acronyms and terminology that you're not familiar with, or maybe if you're in a mathematical-based course, maybe the equations they use, you're not familiar with, and sometimes they're not in the book, sometimes they are. It's not very easy. I think that there's a lot of difficulties that students will say. I mean, I remember when I was in graduate school, I remember there was a student from Rice that said he had a lot of the same problems. I mean, he was saying were the same ones that I had with some of my courses, with professors not knowing the level that you're at, and start and using terminology like in his differential equations course or his advanced chemistry course. Or calculus course. He was saying that a lot of professors, you just can't learn a lot from them just because of the fact that they don't know what you don't know or what you do know. Perhaps it's because they were at a different level when they entered the course, but that could be because of all the different, the state system before them. Maybe if they're from another country, or even if they're from this country. I mean, that material changes, and it's changed, and they might not know what you do or do not know, and they don't know necessarily themselves perhaps what's necessary for you to get out of the course for you to be well educated. Perhaps a lot of those ideas are no longer that useful, but they're still in the book somewhere, and that's the ones that the professor teaches, versus some other ones in the book that might have been more useful, that might have been more in correlation with what you had been taught up to that course. Like, let's say in something in calculus or something like that, maybe half of the book is all that the professor has time really to teach you, and there's the core third that everybody has to learn no matter what, but then maybe there's 2/3 that are kind of debatable, in different areas or different majors might need different amounts, or maybe just the understanding or how to teach them. Maybe the professor doesn't know what you did or did not know, like maybe in some kind of I don't know, like maybe in chemistry, like did you know your tables or whatever. Do you know maybe in marketing, it's did you or don't you know the different types of bandwagoning or whatever, different types of marketing strategies. Maybe they did or did not know, but you knew those from the previous course or from previous information that you got in your life. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is the fact that there's a poor synchronization there too in the amount that the student knows prior to the course. And then this kind of brings me to the last reason why do I want this change? Well, I also really do actually want to I guess it kind of sounds, maybe it's a little bit too wishful of a thinking, but I would like to have a centralized body of knowledge that's connected, and it's connected like all of the different, I guess, disciplines and courses are connected to each other in regards to like like you can see like how they all integrate. You can see the whole body of knowledge. You can see the whole body of at least from the basic level, maybe not at the very advanced levels, but hopefully in the future. But anyways, at the very basic level, you can see how everything connects. You can see, oh, okay, so I need to know this piece of this piece of this piece of chemistry, and this piece and this piece and this piece of biology integrated together so that I can do biochemistry at this level, and it would actually be completely true, and it wouldn't be like there wouldn't be missing blocks. So how do we get to that level? How do we get to where we don't have those missing blocks, so that we do have proper synchronization and versus in the cost schedule world and in the I guess the personal learning style world and the capacity of what you do and do not know going into the course world. So how do we do that? So for that, these are the 5 changes that I think that we need in education in the future. And I don't know exactly how it will come about or what it would look like yet. I mean, I have my ideas, which I may or may not go into. I don't know how much time we have left. Well, it looks like I think we're already at like 15 minutes, so maybe not. But anyway, so they are 1. The use of high technology. 2. Testing and placement via learning styles. And capacities. 3, quality controlled courses. And 4, entertaining educator. And 5, homework done in class with a final project. So there we go. Not exactly sure how well you can see those on there, but that's okay because I'm just going to go and talk about each of them. So the first one is the use of high technology. So now what exactly do I mean by this, and what do I see this in the future of education? Where do I see that application? So what I think in the future, it'll actually be kind of like the present in the online courses and stuff like that, and that you will have lectures and you will have the homework and everything like that will be on the computer. Now, the difference that I see is this. I think that what we could do is we could make either a company or a group or maybe the United States government or somebody, or some state governments could get together, or some corporations could get together and make some kind of a hardware, like an actual hardware that you can come out with new versions every year, you know, to keep the profits going and whatever, and this whole shebang-o-bang. But what you could do is you could have something like a thing that could measure like the students' eyes and stuff to make sure that they're actually participating, measure like, you know, their presence and everything like that, so they're actually watching the lectures. And what you could do is have like the homework and everything like that all done within the lecture itself. So what you would have is you would have you know, a computer terminal, you know, the